Keith Jones.
Oh, you beat me to it. That's rare, man. How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. I'm so glad to see you.
Good to see you.
Good. How you feel?
I feel good. You look fabulous, man. You got some red on today.
Yeah, a little red and a little gray. A little red and a little gray. Feel like Santa right now.
Yeah. You look great. I like the beard.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm becoming. I'm accepting it.
Well, you can shave. There's no rule against it, right?
That's right. I thought I'd give it a try. We'll see.
It's becoming. It's very handsome.
Oh, thank you, Richard.
You're welcome, Keith.
Thank you. So, what you want to talk about?
I want to talk about aging today. Yeah, we kind of.
Speaking of.
Yeah, exactly. My white hair and your gray beard. I think the reason why that's of importance is that there's times when we go back to old friends that we haven't seen in a while, and we're surprised at the changes that they've made physically. And also, I think there's something about our culture, probably all of Western culture, that makes aging sort of embarrassing and something to be avoided. So we're always going back to try to look younger and to behave younger, or to be hip or cool, which is totally different than a lot of other cultures, particularly in the East, where the older you become, the more venerated, the more wisdom, the more deference is showed to you.
Absolutely.
Which I'm for, actually.
You know what? I wasn't a big champion of that, but now more and more every day.
Well, tell me about how you do. You got a birthday coming next week.
I absolutely do.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, number 49.
49, baby.
Yeah. So, my journey with the whole concept of aging it's been interesting, man. It's evolved over time. About 4 or 5 years ago, I really struggled. My 30th birthday was really tough for me. And I had a client say to me, "Oh man, 30 is a great age. You're finally becoming a mature person. And 40 is going to be even better, Keith." She just really just helped me see it in a more positive way. But I've always had this fear, and my fear was not realizing my full potential. And I think because I was coming from an achievement mindset about the way that I measured my worth was success, and mostly material success. Not success of changing a community, changing lives, and things like that, but more so about money, material things, status and title, reputation. And so this fear, it haunts me. And when I got into my 40s, I was always consumed with, man, I haven't achieved enough. I'm getting older. And I just really did not have a great relationship when it came to aging, with the whole concept of it. And then something happened. I suffered a lot 3.5 years ago. And at that point, I made a commitment to stop suffering and start doing some things to really embrace the present moment and not be so achievement-minded. And the funny thing about that, I've achieved as much or more without being focused on that or being a slave to it. And I've done so being peaceful. It's just been really, really great. So I look at aging completely different. And I've always had this wonderful view of people that were older than me, that were wise. And I think that started with my grandfather, just listening to him tell me about some life principles to guide me as I continue to grow up. And that stayed with me. So I just love being around people that were older than me. I just always felt like I could learn from them.
That's interesting. So you had tied aging with a notion of not having achieved enough for your age.
Yes.
And then that created suffering.
Yes.
And then you realized that some other life lesson taught you that suffering was probably something that you could manage. And if you just took that away, you might have a more rich and complete life.
Absolutely. You nailed it. What took me the first 4 minutes to say, you said it in a few seconds.
Well, I just did that because I think that that's pretty much how we deal with everything. So whether it's aging or lack of money or not having the right husband or the right wife or having kids that you wish were a little different, all of those things are grounds or reasons or justifications or stimuli for suffering. And so if you're worried about aging, that is another area where that worry is going to consume you, or at least be a little prick in the back of the ear that's not so fun. It's a suffering thing.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be 70 this year. This is my 7-0 coming up in a couple of months. And I you know, I guess I've always felt like I really didn't care about the biological age, the chronological age, because I think truly there is a chronological age, but there's also an invisible age. And that is the age that I think is more important to focus on.
Explain.
Well, there's nothing that I feel I can't do. I think I could still suit up and play ball.
Right.
I probably couldn't, but I'd still try it.
Right.
I mean, we're going to go skiing next week, and we'll do the diamonds and the tough stuff, and I don't have any problem doing that. There's nothing I can't eat. I don't take any medications. I don't feel like I'm in any way different, except I have this goofy hair and wrinkles. Well, that's okay. I mean, that's part of what the evolution of the human being is. I think it's also a good thing in the sense that you are 70. Biblically in the Bible, 70 was the life expectancy that you pretty much was over. Okay. That is a very good thing, because to me that keeps death over my shoulder. And I love that idea, the idea that this is finite, that every moment that I'm choosing to act a certain way is a choice, and I bear the consequence for what flows from it. So experiencing these podcasts with you is joyful and wonderful. But if I go and I sit in a room and I think about all of, my legs don't move as well as they used to. They still do, though. But if they didn't, that would be a problem. That would be something that would consume me and cause me suffering. And I would be making that choice. That would be terrible. Why do you want to spend your present moments suffering? There's no point in that. So all this wordiness boils down to letting go of things that you cannot control, age being one of them.
Absolutely.
And then the second part of the aging for me is the idea that the chronological age is important, but it truly has nothing to do with your soul, which is immortal and impervious to all of the things that we can see. The soul is invisible, and the bond that you and I have, for example,
Absolutely.
is invisible. We couldn't go out and get a bucket of Rick and Keith love somewhere. It's between us. So the things that are really important in life have nothing to do with wrinkles or a gray beard,
right,
or any of the things that we attribute to age.
Preach. Preach.
Well, and honestly, I don't think I would like to be 25. I had a great run of it. I mean, I had a really wonderful life. I truly did. I didn't deserve it. I just am awed at the kind of stuff that I was able to do. But I also think that it's not over, and whatever is out there is doable.
Right. No, I'm right there with you. When I look back at the run that I've had and with the challenges that have been along the way, early going, I did not take advantage of those challenges and see them as opportunities. I either saw them as one or two things. One, as a challenge that I was going to overcome, that was going to help me get closer to success. Or I saw a challenge as something that was super, super inconvenient and unfortunate, and it's somebody else's fault. So that's how I saw them. And as I've gotten older, I wouldn't want to be 25 again either. I mean, 25, the choices that I was making then were just choices that somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew they were going to lead to more suffering. And where I'm in life right now, I am so mindful of those choices right now. Like all of a sudden something happened and I'm like, no.
That's right.
Like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm going to bed right now. No, I am not hanging out with that person right now. Not that they were bad. I just knew where that was going to lead, and it was suffering. And so I just really, become, I don't want to say smarter, I become conscious.
That's a better word.
I am conscious
Mindful.
now. Yes, and I wasn't before. And so I really am cool with the whole aging process, and I know it's going to be something that I'll probably have to remind myself of, but if I keep doing the practice, it won't take reminding, because I'll see everything that happens as an opportunity to practice being conscious, to practice being loving and kind. What about you?
Oh, definitely. I think you put up with less as you're older. And I mean, there's sort of like a genetic or biological condition
Right.
that just makes your attention span shorter or something.
Right, like, oh, that doesn't bother me. Because people are always fascinated, like, when the parents are going crazy about the kids, the grandparents are like, oh, let them do whatever,
we've
it'll be
seen
all
it.
fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. Let them drop on the floor. It's all right.
I know, and their children are like, but you don't let us get away with that. Ah, we're smarter now. But really, those things don't even faze you because they're really not that important,
Well,
are they?
part of that, but I think also older people are prone to go down the tunnel of health issues.
Right.
Because of that mortality clock ticking. And I think they spend way too much time talking about the pills and all the garbage that's wrong with them instead of going out and exercising, taking your shoes off and walk in nature, or volunteer and help with other people's issues and get your mind out of your own problems. I also think that there's a very important thing about aging, and that is that it allows you to see not only where you've been, but it also allows you to look at the future in a way that is finite. And as I started to say earlier, that idea that death is over your shoulder and you have limited choices makes you concentrate on what is important now.
Exactly.
Mark Twain said that nothing concentrates the mind like a hanging in the morning. If you've got 8 hours to live, you're gonna think about things that are really important to you.
That's right.
Not about whether Susie didn't bring my Tupperware back, or Elmer just
Right.
didn't pay the bet back.
Yeah, somebody forgot my birthday. I didn't get an invite.
And all
what they did.
And all that garbage needs to go. So, and if it takes aging to do that, I'm for it. One quick story, though, I got to tell. This is I think kind of funny, and that is the thing that probably when I was 50 this started, probably earlier. I just didn't notice.
So this is what I got to look forward to?
Yeah, well, next week. Next year, it's come for you next week.
Thanks.
You as a young man, you're always interested in women and looking at them, and they look back at you, and sometimes there's a smile exchange. Since I've been 50, I've been totally invisible to women.
Thanks.
Yeah, which honestly is a great relief, because you don't have to worry about any of that dynamic happening. In fact, I think that's true with men as well. The idea is that the physical presence and looking good, truly looking good, physically looking good, is truly unimportant. And I think you come to learn that more in aging, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Right. I think some people do. I mean, I still think there are a lot of people that are really consumed with how they look. I mean, me personally, I want to be well groomed. I'm less concerned about what other people think about me being well groomed. I may ask your opinion. Hey, is this suit okay? What do you think? But if you say no, I'm not going to, go home and burn the suit or anything like that.
But you're a trainer too, though, and in your business, you have to have your body type look good. Not that you do it for that, but that's part of what helps you with your business. How do you deal with that? Do you feel like you're declining in any way physically?
I mean, I'm pretty fortunate, that I've taken care of myself for a long time, and that's kind of paid off. I'm still able to do things athletically that I like to do, but I'm reminded, a knee issue here or a shoulder pain here, and that I have to really be mindful. And the thing about it now is, as I've gotten old, I don't feel like I have to prove myself. If I'm injured, I can say, listen, I'm injured. I don't have to worry about somebody not believing me, so I have to show them I can go harder or things like that. And I'm literally I'm not attached to that anymore like I once was years ago. And I think that attachment ended for me a while back. I mean, it really has, because one time I was helping someone with a triathlon, and I was running on a knee that I shouldn't have been running on because I said I would. And it caused extended period of damage to my knee. And I should have been smarter about that, and I wasn't. So being in the line of work that I'm in, I really, over the last 5 years, really see fitness as a way to put the ego in its place so that it doesn't try to rule me or rule the day, to kind of create mental space for me, because it really helps me with my mindset if I get exercise done in the morning, but to really help me create the foundation so that I can do what's really important to me, which is being present, loving, kind, and of service. And so exercise is really that tool for me. I wanted that first and foremost, and if I had to make a choice between that and having a fit body, physical body, man, the body can look like whatever. I want to be loving. I want to be kind. I want to be conscious. That's what's most important to me now.
Yeah, well, you live that too.
Oh, thank you.
But I think they're hand in hand. I really do. I think health begins with the idea of having a strong physical foundation. So that means nutrition, exercise, cardio, resistance training, good sleep, supplements. I think that's non-negotiable. That's the starting point. And because whether you're 20 or 70, that is going to play a role in your ultimate happiness and how you approach life and what you're open and flexible about and what you're capable of enjoying. I also think that as we age, we have a special responsibility to make that more of a priority. When you're 25, you can drink a six-pack and have 6 pizzas and not pay the price.
Right.
When you're 55, that's going to take a toll. So, I mean, you do have a limitation in terms of your body's ability to recover. I notice in my own workouts, when I work really hard, it might take me an extra day or two to feel like I can get back into it again. And that's okay. That's dealing with a biological imposition that has come from someplace else that you can't control. But I think too often older people use the excuse, well, I'm old, or, it doesn't matter, or, you're going to die anyway. I mean, those kinds of things are, to me, just self-defeating and ridiculous.
Absolutely. Of course we're going to die anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Sure.
But do I have to suffer along the way?
That's exactly
right.
And
again, pain is one thing, the knees ache, whatever, that can be out of your control. What the mind tells you about the knees aching and all that, that's suffering. That is optional.
And as long as we're alive, each of us, as long as we're alive, we have an obligation, I think, to ourselves to thank the life force of having life and to live life at its highest level and best use. So whatever that means for you, that's what needs to be done. I don't care if you're 100 or if you're 10. We have an obligation to be reverent about the life force that's within us, to help other people, to be mindful, and to be compassionate for ourselves, first of all, and then for others as well. But to do that, you have to be healthy, and you have to have an outlook on life that allows you flexibility and allows you the belief that you can do whatever you'd like to do.
Well, let's end there, because I absolutely agree. Rick, thank you for a great show, my friend.
I'm dyeing my hair, man. I can dye my hair now.
Well, you know I will.